Millions of years ago, when the earth was young and wild, the world did not belong to humans. It belonged to giant creatures, the rulers of deep forests, oceans, and skies.
Humans then were just small, weak creatures, living by instinct and perseverance. The deep red sun hung low on the horizon, shining down on a desolate and cracked savanna.
The parched land seemed drained of life, long, winding cracks like wounds that never healed. Amidst that deadly space, two small figures walked silently. They were husband and wife,
The last prehistoric humans remaining from a vanished tribe.
Their clothes were tattered animal hides, their bodies emaciated from hunger and thirst. They spoke no words to each other.
Not because they didn't want to, but because they had no strength left. Each step was a challenge to death.
They wandered aimlessly across the savanna, without direction, unsure if they would live to see tomorrow.
Food had run out days ago. The animals that were once their sustenance had vanished or died from drought,
Or hunted to extinction. Before them, the savanna revealed a horrifying sight. A vast area where the bones of dead animals stretched out. Giant skeletons lay piled upon each other, bleached white under the harsh sun. There were creatures once as tall as mountains, now only gaping jaws remained. As if screaming in silence. There were no birds, no insects.
Only the wind blew through the white bones, creating a chilling sound like wailing.
The WOMAN clutched the man's hand tightly. In her eyes, there was not only fear, but also despair. They continued to walk. Before them, in the hazy mist, a cave appeared. The cave was deep and dark. Its mouth opened wide like a giant creature waiting to swallow its prey. No one knew what lay inside. But in this world, danger and hope often resided in the same place. The WOMAN stopped. Her instinct told her this place was not safe. She remained outside.
Her eyes never left the darkness ahead. He looked up at his WOMAN, said nothing, then stepped into the cave.
The darkness swallowed him immediately. At first, there was only silence. Then a pungent, foul smell hit his nose.
Faint, slithering sounds echoed from everywhere, like thousands of cold breaths moving simultaneously.
He took a few more steps. And then, before his eyes, hell appeared. Thousands, tens of thousands of snakes coiled tightly together, covering the cave floor, the cave walls,
the cave ceiling. They slithered, overlapping each other like a giant living mass. Their cold eyes reflected the faint light from the cave entrance, shimmering like countless dead stars.
Just a small sound was enough to awaken the entire swarm. Fear choked the man's chest.
Without thought, without hesitation, he turned and ran. His footsteps echoed in the cave,
dragging angry hisses behind him. He burst out, gasping for breath, his eyes panicked.
No explanation was needed. The WOMAN understood everything. They left immediately,
leaving the cave and its horror behind. The sun slowly set, painting the sky blood red.
The two small humans continued to walk across the barren savanna. They found no food that day.
Nor did they find a safe shelter. But they kept walking in that harsh prehistoric world.
Life did not belong to the strongest, but to those who refused to give up.
Despite hunger, despite fear, despite only a faint glimmer of hope. And somewhere, in the endless flow of time, those small footsteps began humanity's journey of survival. Faint red light stretched across the vast savanna of ancient Africa. In a sparse forest, a small group of prehistoric humans began to wake. They had no sturdy homes, no sophisticated tools, only crude stone spears, animal hides draped over their bodies, and survival instincts honed over generations. There were 3 people in the group. They were the remaining members of a small tribe, constantly moving to avoid predators and find food. Last night, they slept very little. The roars of large beasts echoed from afar throughout the night, keeping them vigilant. But when dawn came, fear temporarily receded. A new day began, and with it, the familiar struggle to find food to survive. The group left the forest, moving onto the vast savanna. Hot wind blew through the chest-high grass. In the distance, herds of antelopes moved gracefully across the wide land. For many predators, it was a perfect meal. But not for humans of that era. They were not fast enough to chase the antelopes, nor were they strong enough to bring down large beasts. In fact, most of the time, humans were merely scavengers, picking up what was left after predator hunts. The 3 men walked silently across the savanna. Occasionally they stopped, observing footprints on the ground. But today, there was nothing. Time passed, the sun rose higher, and hunger gnawed at their stomachs. After many hours of searching with no successful hunt, one of the men pointed into the distance. There was a stream flowing across the savanna. They decided to head straight for the stream. The water not only quenched their thirst, but it was also where many small creatures gathered. Crabs. Upon arrival, they knelt to drink. The cool stream flowed over smooth, round stones. After a short rest, the 3 men began to search underwater. After some searching, the 3 men stepped ashore. In their hands was a small pile of spoils. A few fish, a few shrimp. Not a grand feast. But for them, it was life. The 3 men happily walked back to their temporary shelter. The sun was slowly setting in the west. The oldest man in the group began to start a fire. After a short while, the campfire flared up. Orange-red flames danced in the evening air. The fish and shrimp were placed on thin wooden sticks to grill.
The aroma slowly spread. For modern humans, it would be just a very small meal. But for them, it was the reward of a whole day battling nature. The 3 men sat around the campfire.
They ate slowly, sharing each piece of grilled fish. No one spoke much, but their eyes shone with relief. At least today, they would not starve. The sun slowly sank towards the horizon, painting the sky deep red. Far across the savanna, the shadows of large herds began to move in the twilight. In the forest, the roars of predators began to echo. The 3 small humans sat by the campfire, the light from the flames reflecting on their tired faces. They did not know what tomorrow would bring. Perhaps they would find more food. Perhaps they would have to flee from a giant predator. But right now, by the small campfire in the vast wild world, they were still here. And as the fire continued to burn in the prehistoric night, one thing became clear. It was these small humans. With their perseverance and survival instincts, they had begun humanity's long journey on Earth. Their story was not over. It had only just begun.